Baby Boomer fans, we are Jackie and Janine, the Pfeiffer sisters, and love to talk about the 1950s, inviting you to reminisce with us as we explore experiences of that decade. Grab your favorite malt or Green River, make sure you are wide awake, and get ready to be inspired about the 1950s. Welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat. Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us today. This is another wonderful fun chat. And you know, the interesting thing, Jackie, about the chats that we have on our YouTube channel, they're not necessarily always fun. We have had one chat before that featured talking with a funeral director from your area in Washington. Mm-hmm. And today we have another more serious subject too that we're going to talk about. And really, we think that it is going to hit the understanding and pique the curiosity of many baby boomers or those who are even younger than us. Can you continue on with this story, what we're going to be telling today?
I will, but I'm going to insert the purple banner below. Please, visitors, go to www.whilethewindmillwatch.com. And that refers to our book, While the Windmill Watched, A Slice of Rural America in the 1950s. That book then spurred the 1950s Fun Chat. So the website will give you all sorts of information about the book and the authors and the vendors, and also past fun chats. So we will begin now with this fun. We are privileged to be having a returning guest. His name is Greg Nelson, who is known for his musical talents. And if you're interested, see Fun Chat 67. Today you will be introduced to this deep thinker and gentle soul as we chat on the topic of aging. But to give you a little background about Greg was born and raised in Bismarck, North Dakota. He attended public schools, Bismarck Junior College, and 1 year at the University of North Dakota, followed by traveling throughout the United States for a year with a Christian folk group. He returned to Bismarck and married his high school sweetheart, Pam Wetch, graduated from Mary College, now the University of Mary, and taught in elementary schools and Bismarck High for 7 years. He conducted the fledgling city orchestra and led a performing singing group. He then served full-time as a church youth director for years and formed a record label, moved to LA, Los Angeles, for 2 years and eventually settled in Nashville, Tennessee. And he became a producer, a songwriter, and publisher. He now lives in Franklin, Tennessee. And so again, Greg, we welcome you to the 1950s Fun Chat.
Yes. Hi, Greg.
We're going to ask you to read something that you have written recently. It's called The Tides of Time, and this will set the background for our topic today.
Okay. Aging comes like the tide, slow at first, lapping at the edges of our certainty, until one day we realize the shoreline has shifted beneath our feet. Time, that gentle and relentless sculptor, shapes us in a way we never expected. Our bodies, once sure and strong, begin their quiet betrayals. Hands that once built, painted, played, or held steady in times of crisis, now tremble with uncertainty. Steps that once carried us through life's adventures grow hesitant, as if the earth beneath us has become unfamiliar. The mind, once a vault of memories, thoughts, and quick-witted replies, starts leaving doors ajar, losing names, faces, entire afternoons in the wind. Dementia steals not just recollection, but recognition, turning loved ones into strangers and the self into a puzzle, missing half its pieces. Parkinson's, with its slow and unrelenting hand, rewrites the body's script, making the simplest of tasks a labor of patience. Independence, once a defining trait of adulthood, begins to slip away in pieces. A driver's license surrendered, a home downsized, decisions placed in younger hands, and the roles shift. The ones who once needed us now hold our arms to steady us. The children we raised begin raising us in return, reaching us, teaching us how to navigate a world that has just become slightly out of reach. The reversal is humbling, tender, and sometimes unbearable. And yet, in the unraveling, something else is woven in. If we are willing to, if I'm legally blind, so I'm having a hard time here. If we are willing, aging teaches us to live in the present, to cherish what remains, to embrace a slower rhythm. There is grace in surrender, in allowing others to give back the love that once poured so freely. There is wisdom in realizing that though the body weakens, the soul, if we let it, can grow stronger, lighter, freer. The tide pulls out, but it does not leave emptiness. It leaves space for reflection, for gratitude, for one more chance to love and be loved. And perhaps in the end, that is what remains.
Thank you for that beautiful essay.
So poignant.
Thank you.
So, Greg, how do you personally view the changes that come with aging, both physical and mental? And do you fear them or accept them or make friends with them? Or do you see them a part of the journey?
Well, okay, so I'll be 77 this year. So I'm 76, and I lived in a period like you all, a period of significance, where we were doing significant things as to career and our families and stuff. And now at this age, I'm no longer in that period of significance in terms of how the world sees me. I'm in a period of being, that time of reflection, that time when I have to sort out my life and go, am I less than? Do I matter? And I had a hard time with that because I'm very, not a compliment. I don't look for like, what award can I go for? Or how many records can I sell? It was always about the process, always about getting to do the process and being in it, being in the flow of stuff. But that went by the wayside for me. But one time someone said to me, Greg, God does no little thing. And I went, and my wife was standing there and she said, you better listen to that, Buster. and so I started thinking about that. And I looked at, there's Dove Awards and Grammys and stuff. And I look at that. And then I had a birthday party and my granddaughters made me things. And one of those was a wooden P for Poppy and written all the nice things that they loved about me.
Aww.
And I had this Hall of Fame, this Gospel Hall of Fame thing that I gotten. It was a medallion and it was hanging there. And so that's now in my bathroom. The P is up there because I thought, what is more important thing that I'm doing? What's sitting up there or my granddaughters and speaking into them and spending time with them? And it wasn't an easy transition for me because of health things, like I can't see, so I couldn't see to play in an orchestra. I could play my cello, I could play the piano, and I continued to do that, but my hearing went, and I'm virtually everything goes straight into my ears, and this is about the size group as I can talk to. Because it's like a train running by me. I can't explain it. But anyway, So I'm going, well, I can still do that. Well, guess what? Now I have essential tremors in my hands, and I can't play my cello anymore, and I can't play the piano anymore. And that was hard. That because my cello was like my best friend. That was like I can't a musician, and you guys are musical, but what it was my best friend. It saved me. It made me think I could do something, and that's hard to explain. I won't even try to explain that. And when I couldn't do that anymore, that was hard. That was a very difficult thing for me. And but so what's that thing about the door closing and the window opens or something like that? I can't remember. Well, one opened up for me because I can write. I can write prose. I can write poetry. I've never actually read a book ever in my life. I've just not. I've got ADHD and I'm unable. Words, it's just too much for me. Sure. But I can take little snippets like poetry. So I love reading poetry, little snippets, and I like to write. So I can do that. And I kind of learned that from my brother. My brother told me this. I said, gee, do you have to wear those long socks all the time in the summer? And he's had heart issues. So he said, yeah, I got to do it. I said, oh, what about? He said, well, what are you going to do? He said, I got to wear them, so I'll wear them. And so then I started thinking about, well, if I can't do this, well, then I'll just have to figure something else, put my big boy pants on. So anyway, so that transition was hard.
You know what I'm hearing from you, Greg, is that you understand who you are, and in every stage of your life, and you have delved into it. You've immersed yourself into it, because that then has become who you are at this stage of your life. Did you think that when you were in that era of your life, midlife, say in your 40s, that you would get to this point with your health, or that aging would look like this?
No, because we live forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when we're kids, this is what it's going to be forever. I mean, we don't even think about what might happen. We're too busy happening. We're too busy becoming. And that's an operative word you use, becoming, because we don't just get there. I didn't just get to where I am now. It's a process of becoming. It's a slow.
It is.
Tide is a great analogy to it. It's this rolling in that happens to us, and it happens differently for all of us. One of my dear friends, who was a great orchestrator. He lived right across the alley from me. He did stuff for Boston Pops and Celine Dion, and he did a lot of stuff for me, and just fabulous. Well, he had Parkinson's for 24 years, and I used to walk with him every day because we have a service thing. The houses are set up so the things behind the houses are there's a service road where you put out your garbage cans and your that sort of thing. So we would just meet and just walk. And I asked him about Parkinson's, and he told me things I didn't know, like there were nightmares. He had nightmares like crazy, and it was scary for him. And it all slowly came about. He had tremors, of course.
Yeah.
And but they're little oddities, and I have 2 or 3 friends right now that are going through that, and they didn't think it. I'm sure they didn't think, oh wow, I'm going to have Parkinson's, and no, but it happened. So I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yes. How do do you recall in the 50s when you were growing up, did you recall seeing neighbors or friends who might be going through these changes of life with their bodies?
Not at all.
Okay.
I was too busy. I was too busy for them.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did have, my love language is touching and encouraging, and I'm observant about people. That's I don't know where I got that, but I got it from something.
So would you say that's one of the advantages of aging?
Right. Well, I think I did that early on too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was observant. Sometimes I was too shy to act. But the older I got, if I saw someone, an older person standing there just not doing anything, I walked right up to him and talked to him. Or if I saw an older lady coming in the store and I liked something she was wearing, I said, "Oh, I like that." And it just lights people up.
Yes.
And I think it's not people don't dismiss on purpose. They don't do it on purpose, but they just say, "Well, that I've got other things to do."
Yes.
No.
And remember growing up in Bismarck, there was always the tall gentleman. We assumed he was homeless. He wore this black overcoat in all seasons of the...
And carried a broom.
Yes.
Yeah, Ed Meter.
Were you friends with him?
He was. No, I wasn't. I want to say I was. I was always curious,
Yes.
and I didn't know. I didn't know what was wrong. I just didn't know enough. I was not very bright, you know. When it
No.
You were being your age.
Yes,
I
think probably as young girls, we were curious about him too. Where did he live? Where did he live? Where did he come from? What did he do? How did he survive?
Mm-hmm.
All that.
But
I mentioned him in our book too, as that curiosity.
Yeah.
I mentioned that.
You know, something happens. I wrote a piece about. Do you have 1 second? It's not that long.
Sure, definitely.
What a sweet old man. Such a kindly lady. That's so sad. We sometimes think these things when we're referring to the elder infirmed. While we enjoy unrestrained mobility, the world is changing and freedom fading. These history makers look out the window and remember what they once dreamed, what they once accomplished, what they once experienced, but now the hours turn slowly. It's not the same. Food doesn't taste like it used to. Mm-hmm. Laying down at night is a lonesome moment. Living, even more. Familiar faces fall victim to the actuarial tables. Memory wanes. Redundant questions imply a creeping debility. Waiting marks their days. Even with our best intentions, they wait, always waiting for meals, waiting for visitors, waiting for calls. Simple tasks become increasingly difficult and frustrating. Privileges, like a car taken from them. Transitioning, existing more as a changeling. They want to tell the doctor how they feel, but they don't hear well, and the conversation is difficult. It's perplexing to be in the same room and hear their children speak for them as in absentia. Mm-hmm. They have long since given up engaging in group conversation, or any conversation for that matter. There's an angst in their psyche that we can't fully grasp. For slowly they are disappearing. But for family, caring friends, or the music of a child's voice, they're invisible.
Yes.
So then that brings me to the question: of society treating elderly And is there respect? Is there not respect? Is there like offhandedness? And if whatever, and how do you suppose that can be changed individually?
Well, I can. I spend a lot of time with young people at our church and with my granddaughters, and I said, be curious. If you see something and you think, well, they don't want to talk to me, they're just standing there. You don't know that. That's what they call that FAE, a fundamental attribution error, where you assume something that isn't true. Like the guy who goes speeding past you and say, oh, what a jerk. He's driving way too fast, but we don't know he's headed for the hospital because his son is in the back having difficulties or something. Where we attribute things, and we look at people like they matter. Mm-hmm. And I tell my kids to be curious. And it doesn't help me to tell old people that. Mm-hmm. I have to be intentional with young people. And you know what? That's what keeps me alive. That's one of the great joys of my life, is talking to young people. Mm-hmm. and being intentional with them. I walk right up. In fact, this Sunday I walked up to two girls. I said, man, I said, hi, I'm Greg. And they kind of looked at me. I said, what's your name? And they told me. And I said, well, where do you go to school? And they said, Paige. And I said, do you know my granddaughter, Tessa? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so we had that conversation. And I know Christina and Tamarin are their names. I remember them. So when I see them, I have a relationship. That's what keeps me going. If I sit at home and don't get out, and some people can't get out, some people, but there are ways to get around that. And I have friends who do that. I hope we're headed down that way.
Tell us about those ways to get around that when you feel that you're isolated and alone, or your body won't let you move outside where you live.
Well, I can FaceTime with people.
Oh.
I can FaceTime with people, which I do. And in fact, sometimes I'll just do a video of me saying something to one of my friends, because I know they're busy or they may be busy. I just say, I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you, and I hope you have a beautiful day today. And I'll say a couple of things. That's it. Then I send it to them, and they love it. Mm-hmm. They love that. It's not visceral, but it's not didactic. It's not information. It is. There's a personal thing about it. Mm-hmm. So I can do that. And I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you what keeps me going. Humor.
Yeah.
Humor.
Yes.
I tell you, if I didn't have humor, I have to have a dose of humor a day, at least. You know.
Well, that's what keeps a marriage going too, oftentimes.
Absolutely. Well, and let me tell you, this is very interesting that you say marriage, because Pam and I were just we were at the Kennedy Center. They did a work of mine there, which was wonderful. But forget that. My time with her was a breakthrough in our marriage. It was a breakthrough because I sat there. I said, Pam, and we get along great. I mean, we have fun and we get along great. But I said, I think there's things you don't tell me. I think you might have some resentments about things, whether in the past or something. And she said, well, why do you say that? I said, because I feel it. And it's not overt. But she said, Yeah, and she started talking about certain things that bothered me. I said, "Did you know that's not at all how I feel?" Or what? I said, "You just assumed that." I said, "That's not." Well, I can't tell you what that did for me because uh, I told her this. I said, "I don't want to just do stuff for you and say nice things to you because I want to say to you, honey, today, what can I do to be a better husband for you? What can I do to be better today for you?" Because when she sees that, that matters to her. You know, we can say stuff and we can do stuff, but when they see that you're working, well, that was a breakthrough. Hey, we're 76. So, I mean, so in marriages, there, I mean, there's plenty of things that we can do to improve our lot. And you know, I had this idea that, well, this is the way I'll always be with this. No, it isn't. I can change. I can do things. And I think those are the kinds of things. Now, if you're single, you can't do that. And so I understand that. That is a hard road right there. And I don't have answers for that. Or ideas about it.
In the tides of time, you touched on the body weakens, but the soul grows.
That's right.
Yes.
Expound on that.
Expound on that.
Yeah. One time I went to Pam and I went to this financial seminar. It's, you know, the guys who make sure you don't go broke or something. And we went to this thing, and they said, "Don't you long for heaven?" And I was like in my 40s and went, I know it wasn't very spiritual, but no, I don't.
Yes.
No, I don't really. I'm loving my life here. Things are going great. What could be better than now? And over the years, that has changed.
Yes.
Because now I look at my life and I've seen the orchestration of my life and seeing how I've been kept and rescued and all these things and in my case, healed us certain stuff, not in that weird, I got, you know, but I've been healed of things and grateful for it. And I just see how that's worked. And so now I'm, you know, I know I have a lot of stuff to do yet. I know the Lord has stuff for me to do, but you know, I'm fine with God. I don't want the dying part. I don't like that part. That, you know, the actual when it happens, but heaven and stuff like that, I'm ready. Yes, and I do think about it.
Yes,
but I didn't before. Maybe I didn't answer your question, but
no, I understand that. Yes. How do you think the example that you are setting with how you are handling life as a 76-year-old? How will do you think that will reflect on your children and your grandchildren?
Well, it's an imprint in them. They see it. That's authentic. It's not me talking to them. It's not me saying, maybe you should do this, which I don't do that kind of stuff with them. But I let them see my life and tell them about mistakes I've made and things I regret, and that they don't have to do those things. They don't have to go through those things. And say that question to me one more time, because I wanted to say something.
Sure. How will your example of aging affect the aging of your children and grandchildren?
Okay. They see how I treat people. They see how I treat people and how I respond to Pam. especially when we're in how I respond to her. And Pam and I have like we make it a point that four times a day, we spend 15 seconds skin on skin, just holding each other, looking each other. She says I'm too effusive because I tell her I love her too much, and so I and then I said, that's weird because that's just what I want to do, and she said, okay, be effusive. So, but anyway, because we're very different, we're very different, but how my grandchildren see that, how the people that I come in contact see that, that's what I can do.
Yes. Were your brother and sister that way too? As wanting to be touched and held?
My sister and I were twins born in different years. I mean, we were so mind melded. And my brother, and I love my brother, he's more quiet. He's crazy gifted. I just want to slap him. But
Can you say that about your sister too, though?
What?
Couldn't you not have said that about your sister too?
About what?
Crazy intelligence and
yeah. Well,
B flat.
Yeah, my brother and I sit back and we go, well, we kind of did okay, but we think our sister hung the moon, but anyway, yeah.
Do you think that your parents? Let me rephrase that. How do you think your parents, as they were raising you, how do you think they would want you to treat them as they age? How were they setting examples for you from which to learn?
It's interesting you say that. Well, my mother was 95 when she passed away, and Pam's mother was 95 when she passed away. So we saw them in different roles. My mother had her mind, but her body was weak. Pam's mom, I mean, she there wasn't a day she didn't walk all over the place or go do something. She was always doing something and working, and we were raised on a farm. You guys know, she was raised on a farm. So you learned about that kind of stuff. But her mind was not there. But it's funny. It's very funny. One day we were going to go over to see her where she was living. She was in a facility, nice place, and we were going over there, and we saw her, and she just was not communicating at all. And so we called Sarah, our daughter, and said, "You probably don't need to come over because she's, she was not paying attention." Sarah said, "Well, I'm really close. I'll come over." So she came over with the girls. I promise you, 5 minutes later, she's playing patty cake with the girls. I mean, 3 things would get her going: the grandchildren, talking about her money, and cards. She loved playing cards. Those are the 3 things that would wake her up.
You found her happy spots.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was her happy spot.
Yes.
So aging is inevitable. So how can we prepare ourselves emotionally, physically? And Janine alluded to some of the things that they have done in their ages. But do you have any other things that other wisdom you might have about how we can prepare?
The one thing that I say to guys who don't know what's coming up, I said, let life come to you. Let it come to you. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to take care of itself. Take care of today. I wish I could show you over here the In fact, I'll try to do it.
Sure.
I want to show you what I have up in my. Let's see. Yeah. That's
Today.
what is there in my room
Mhm.
today. Just take care of today and let life come to you. And because I don't think you can prepare for everything.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And here's another thing. One other thing. You got to learn to let go.
Mm.
Life is a series of letting go. We let go of our children. Me, I had to let go of driving a car. I can't drive a car anymore. Blind people don't do very well in cars. So I had to let go of that. And I can't sit there and bemoan it. I just let go. Some of the saddest people I've ever met in my life are people who can't let go, who won't let go. And I think that's a real big thing.
It's interesting that you said we cannot prepare for everything as we age.
No.
And yet that's what we've been taught all through life. You prepare for school, you prepare for college, you prepare for a profession, you prepare somewhat for marriage, you somewhat prepare for having children. It's our life is based on preparedness. And then all of a sudden that concept just filters away.
It don't work.
Right. I mean,
don't work.
Fred and I thought we had prepared for this stage in our lives. Wrong.
Well,
God laughed.
Yeah, just think about your marriages. I think about mine.
Yeah.
I had no clue. Every time I watch a guy standing up at the when we go to a wedding, 'cause we get invited to weddings all the time, and they're standing up there looking all dreamy at their wife walking, their to-be wife walking up, and I've more than once I've sat there and gone, "You have no idea. You have no idea. You won't be smiling all the time."
Correct.
But we there's no manual. We didn't know.
Well,
And so, like I say, there are some things you just can't. You do your best. You take pastoral counseling or something like that, and that's good. And there to watch the road signs, but there's plenty of the in between stuff that you didn't know about.
Oh, most certainly. I think aging is a process that can make us into better people than what we've been.
if we let it.
That's very good. Yes, if we let it.
Yes.
If we let it. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I had a pastor who often said to me, "Jackie, let go and let God."
That's
That's kind of hard to do. And then sometimes you do, and then you grab it back and get rid of it.
Well, as I tell my friends a lot of times, yes, I've been with the Lord for many years, mostly in an advisory capacity.
Wrong. Did he like your words of wisdom?
Yeah. But I just look at the arc of my life and the tapestry of my life, and things happen. And Pam and I literally, not every day, but close to every day, we'll go, "How did this happen? I can't believe it." Think about we'll sit there and go. She said, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I didn't have a clue what was going on in my career. I didn't have. Well, you guys know me, ADHD. So I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing stuff, and I was loving it, and that's all I know. But
isn't that great? Isn't that how everyone should do? Doing stuff that you love?
Right.
Well, I tell you, I'll tell you, I say this often. I never worked a day in my life. I never have. I loved every minute of what, and it was hard. There were hard days, and we all have those hard days. But I love being in it.
Yep.
Well, you were
I love
certainly,
bringing the hard stuff and the fun stuff. Yeah.
and you were blessed, and your time of life where you didn't know what was going on yielded so much joy and appreciation and positive things for others.
Yeah. Well, that was a gift. I mean, like you guys know, that you've got gifts. Janine's got gifts. Jackie, both of you guys.
Different gifts.
And there are gifts, and you go, well, where did I get that? I don't know. But I can do it. That's right. Absolutely.
Greg, how would you speak to someone our age, maybe someone younger than us, and who has parents, or they're the children, can see that their parents need a different place to call home, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to move, or maybe they even get combative over it.
So, who wants to make the move?
The children see that the parents need to have some other kind of care, and not necessarily being in their home where they're at, and yet they don't want to move from their home. How do children help their parents to understand that it's the best that would happen to them in this stage of their life?
That is one of the most difficult things there is, right there, that you just said. That is unbelievably difficult, because what you're saying to them is that I'm taking away your independence, and I'm or you can't be dependent on us. You're going to go to a strange land. You're going to a strange land, and they don't want to go to a strange land because it's not comfortable. It's never been like that for them, and it's a horrible thought to them. So a lot of that is, a lot of times, waiting it out, taking them to, I know with dementia and stuff like that, taking them to a doctor and say, yes, you definitely, you need more help. And I've told our children this. Don't ever have us in your home, ever. Yeah. We don't want to be in your home.
That's what our mother said.
You don't want to be in a facility. I said, I'm going to be old. I probably can't remember half the, no. Is it perfect? No. But I know what the other is. And I don't want to do that to my kids. I do not want to do that. And I said, so don't ever do, just make me that. And they both promised that they wouldn't do it. I said, you're not hurting me.
Do you think that people of our generation might have that specific thought more so than our parents or our grandparents? Because at that,
it was a different time, because we got farm families, especially. It was family, and you just stay together. You just were around each other, and then there are, and this is, I'm not being racist here at all, but Hispanic families,
yes,
are very family oriented. Asian families are very, very family oriented. We have and it's not. I don't think it's as true around with the people that I'm around. I don't see it, but I live in a small little world too, so I don't see the whole world. But I do notice that mom and dad stay at home.
It'd be interesting.
I hope that doesn't sound. It's not meant to sound racist, but I've always admired that. It's something that I don't have a desire. I wouldn't have a desire to do.
It'd be interesting to check the population of memory care facilities and what the predominant race of people is at those facilities. But like you, Greg, we were raised a little differently, and I think for me, I respect the life that our children have made for themselves, and they love me and I love them, but there is a separation, and the time, and I've said to them, if I ever don't know you, or I say things that you think are funny, because I can't remember, just know that it's not who I want to be, but that's where I am right now.
That, you know what? That's exactly right. I wrote a piece about that too one time. But as I said, I joke around with my son and say, well, wouldn't you love to have me stay with you, you know, and so I could be around you all the time. And he said, I love you, Dad, but not that much.
Yes.
I understand. Thank you.
Yes. Well, Greg, in closing our chat today, you know, in a way, it has been a fun chat because we've had humor in it. We've laughed in it. But we know the seriousness of this topic of aging, and that it will come our way. It is come our way.
It has come.
Yes, yes. And no one knows how long we'll live. But what is the best, your best thought for someone for a baby boomer or older, in what your best thought give to them, how they can handle this transition of life?
Trust in the Lord with all your heart,
and lean not on your own understanding,
but in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He'll direct your path. You know, don't worry. I think that Proverbs 5 and 6 is great. It's and you know, and I used to I used to say, oh, I know that verse, and I know what that verse is, but I didn't know what that verse was. And I've written songs that I didn't know what I was writing about, and it was, and I can tell it was just given to me because I didn't have a clue what I was writing about. And I think we take a look at those things, and they're not as cliche as we once thought.
Yes.
But that would be the biggest one for me. And for people who aren't believers or anything, just you have to let life come to you. Just let it come to you. And because we can't take care of everything. I mean, we can't manage everything. We can barely manage what we're going to do tomorrow or something like that, you know. So anyway,
thank you.
Thank you.
It is always so great to chat with you, no matter what the subject.
I love you two girls.
You are the best, Greg.
You're the best.
Yes, Jackie.
Well, our viewers, thank you for joining us. And if you're interested in hearing more about hearing this fun chat again, in how long will it be on our website, Janine?
This one is upcoming, March 10th.
Okay. After March 10th, it'll be on While the Windmill Watched, A Slice of Rural America in the 1950s in that Pratt Archives. So until next time, tell your friends.
I'll have to call all my relatives.
Yeah, and all your relatives about the 1950s fun chat.
Okay.
Blue.